for the sake of this panel. I'm a YouTuber. That's my profession. That's my job in life. That's what I do. What I do is usually make stories that I just kind of tell horror stories online. I do audio production, a little bit of video production here and there for some of the intros and things like that in between videos. To give you an idea about like how long I've been doing this, it's been about 5 or 6 years now. I've been having YouTube. It's been, out of those 5 or 6 years, YouTube has been my job for 4 of them. So that's how I make a living. And I've learned a lot, like dealing with YouTube, like since way back when, and kind of coming over till now. We got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Trying to remember the view count, but I don't know. It's a couple million. But like we got a couple of different bio videos and things like that. What I'm going to be telling you guys about today, and I really hope that I'm doing my right panel right now and I'm not doing my writing. This is the YouTube panel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. But I'm going to tell you guys today is basically how to make a successful YouTube channel. If you guys want to make YouTube as a job, if you guys want to just make a successful YouTube channel because you want to make a channel out of a hobby, then I'm going to be telling you guys exactly how to do it. And I'll let you know right now that YouTube actually tells you how to do it. Like, they tell you mostly everything I'm going to be talking about today. I got a couple of little tips and tricks that I can tell you about that YouTube doesn't talk about, or that YouTube is just kind of bad at really talking about because they're also a business. But YouTube has this thing called the Creator's Playbook. And right now I think it's either youtube.com/creator, because they changed it away from Playbook. But I'm using the 4th version of it. Right now we're in the 8th version of it. The only reason I like using 4 is because it's actually like a thing I can read as I talk. Right now I think it's actually a flash game you can play, and it tells you how to build your channel based off the game. I'm more a fan of books, so I have the book version. So the first thing we're going to do is actually talk about, So whenever I do these panels, I usually talk about making up like a fake channel. Like, let's just say we want to go ahead and make a channel, and that channel is going to be the largest community in YouTube, which is the gaming channel. So it's the easiest thing to do. Does anybody here run YouTube channels at all? What do you do? I'm wearing his shirt. 1, 2, 3, 4 people run YouTube channels. Anybody else kind of want to start up on something or just interested in YouTube in general? Yeah. So like, the largest community on YouTube is the YouTube gaming channel. I'm sure everybody knows that. Game Grumps, Markiplier, everybody's just seen that around. John Trump. But there's a whole bunch of other smaller communities and things like that. Me particularly, I do creepypastas. There's a creepypasta and horror community on there. Me and Well Hey Productions and Mr. Nightmare, Creeps and Pasta, a whole bunch of other people that are involved. But in this particular case, let's go ahead and just make a gaming channel. And the first step to making that channel is going to be making the channel, making an account. A lot of people who generally want to make YouTube channels have like personal channels, which is fine. But if you're trying to make a successful YouTube channel, your personal channel doesn't really kind of cut it. Because a lot of the times you're just kind of experimenting, putting up small test films, home videos, things like that. It doesn't really make for a professional look. It doesn't really make for a professional channel. And majority of the times, the name you choose doesn't really make for a professional name on your channel. Me particularly, when I got Mr. Creepypasta, I didn't want to be Mr. Creepypasta. I just wanted to be Creepypasta. But that was already taken. So it offered me a couple of suggestions. I could be called Mr. Creepypasta. I could be called Creepypasta 1229. And I chose Mr. Creepypasta because 1229 is very difficult to remember. That's the major thing. You want to make sure that you're picking a name when you make your channel that's really going to make you stick out, make somebody remember who you are. So you're not really going along with this. And there's some exceptions. I think Lord Minion 777, that's Wade. 777 is something like, it's still somewhat easy to remember, but like, people know Wade more by Wade than they do Lord Minion 777. So it's easier to pick out a name that kind of sticks out. So in this particular case, let's go ahead and make Killshot. He makes Call of Duty videos. That's our channel. Let's go along with him. It's a wonderful name. It sticks in people's minds, Killshot. So one thing the playbook will kind of do is it breaks down everything by how easy it is to do and how successful it actually is for your channel. So first thing it talks about is captivating your audience. And captivating your audience is the largest, most important thing on any video production, period. When it not even comes down to YouTube, you could be anything dealing with video production, is captivating your audience. Creating your name is part of captivating your audience. Killshot, in his particular case, has a captivating name, at least I like to think so. He doesn't have any kind of ending numbers on it. It's fine. The playbook never tells you about what to make on your channel. And I'll never tell you about what to make on your channel. Because you should always make whatever you enjoy making, whatever is fun for you. If I ever thought that making YouTube videos or telling kids scary stories wasn't fun, I would stop doing it. That's just plain and simple. The reason I started doing video production, started doing comedy and stuff like that, is because I thought it was fun. I don't really like doing stuff that's like Let's Plays, gaming, and stuff like that. I mean, I enjoy playing video games, but on-the-fly comedy, improv, that's just in a Let's Play format, it's never really fun for me, so I don't do it. But what I try to do every time I make something that's entertaining for me is I try to make sure that it's entertaining for everybody who watches. Something that captivates them. Keep in mind that whenever you're making content, but that's the only thing I'm going to talk about when it comes down to that. So, Killshot enjoys playing video games. He enjoys playing Call of Duty, so that's what he's going to do. He's a funny guy when he plays Call of Duty. He has a lot of really funny and profane things to say while playing the game. So he's captivating his audience with profanity, which is something that a lot of YouTubers do. Calls to action are the next thing. And a call to action is basically this. Let me know if this sounds familiar to anybody. And that's, hi everybody, my name is Killshot. Today we're going to be playing Call of Duty. This is my 37th part to Call of Duty. And let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be getting a lot of headshots in this one. And then towards the he plays the video game all the way through, and then 10 minutes later he goes, okay, thanks for watching everybody. My name is Killshot again, and thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye! Don't forget to like, fave, and subscribe. You guys ever heard those before? That right there, the main reason that you do that is because it's called a call to action. The call to action is don't forget to like, fave, and subscribe, as well as keep making sure that his name is said in both the introduction and the ending of the video. This probably seems very, very like elementary to a lot of people, where it says like, yeah, of course people are going to do something if I tell them to do it, but it's not something that a lot of people generally think of when you're making a video. Your idea is to captivate your audience, make what you enjoy doing, which is making the actual video. But you have a 75% increase in the number of people who like, favorite, and subscribe to your videos if you simply ask them to like, favorite, and subscribe to your videos. When you're starting off your channel, especially when you're getting started, you want to try to build your subscriber base. You want to build your fan base, your viewer base. And to be able to do that, you need to get your subscriber count up. You need to be able to get your people who are sharing around your videos or favoriting it. And the best way to do that is with your call to action. Not to mention your name in both the opening and the ending ingrains into them exactly who you are. Introductions to videos sometimes won't say their name, but it'll display it. You guys watch Achievement Hunter. Achievement Hunter has like a very familiar little jingle as they're showing off their symbol. At the very beginning part, it says Achievement Hunter. There's a very familiar jingle that I always loved whenever Achievement Hunter does Rage Quit that I'm always familiar with, because when I hear that little piano jingle, bam, I know I'm watching Rage Quit. And that's the kind of thing you want to have ingrained also with your channel. You want to make people know that they're watching specifically you. Yeah. They want to make sure that you know that people are watching specifically you and they're not watching somebody else. Worst thing you want to do is kind of cross-brand with somebody else. I kind of have this problem a lot of times with MRCREEPYPASTA. I don't know if you guys have ever watched his channel before. If you've seen mine, you probably have seen him at some point. He sounds like a British version of me. And that's the big problem, is he sounds like, we have a similar range in voice, so it just sounds like there's a British accent on it. And our names, CREEPYPASTA and Mr. Creepypasta, are very similar, so people will call me Creeps, people will call him Creeps. So we kind of cross-brand sometimes. But that's part of the reason why I became friends with him, because we're both known to be doing stuff together. So we just started doing stuff together. But calls to action kind of help you separate that. It's one of the big reasons why, from some of my management team, they've been talking about in thumbnails, making sure that my little blue guy, this guy right here, can always be seen in my thumbnails. It's always in my introductions, and towards the end you can always be able to see Mr. Creepypasta, Mr. Creepypasta, Mr. Creepypasta, is to separate me from any other similar brands. Killshot's particular case, he wants to separate himself from the entire Call of Duty community, who also plays Call of Duty and curses at the screen. So he'll do so by saying his name at the beginning and the end. So let's say Killshot now has made his videos. He's gotten his very engaging content up. He's recorded these really funny, awesome videos. He's made sure to put his call to action in the beginning and at the end. He has these wonderful little animation cards that also go with it. He's going to have to build his channel now. Big thing about that is making sure that you've got like a professional look to your channel. When I first started, I put MS Paint drawings as my banner. Yeah, you remember that one? MS Paint drawings is my banner. I had a thumbnail that was literally my friend made a painting and took a picture of that painting, and then I put that as the thumbnail for my channel. This is not the way to do it, ever. There's lots of people around that will be able to either put up free backgrounds or things like that you could be able to use for your channel. You can always hire other artists to be able to do these things for you, and generally at very reasonable prices. Like you're paying like $20 to get like a nice looking icon for what you wanted to do for your channel. That's the best way to do it, because doing MS Paint. The banner, yeah. Like I said, like you can usually just kind of pay people out. I mean, I would never tell anybody to like drop like $600 on a channel when you first get started. At no point would I ever tell anybody to do that. But like doing cheap things like this, you know, paying $10, $15 out, and like getting something nice, especially if you want to start this as like, you know, this is what you want it to be. This is a hobby you want to dedicate yourself to. This is like something you want to turn into like a professional business for you. Put that down on it, and then, you know, see how it grows from there. Spend small amounts. There was a guy called ShoeTube. I mean, you guys have probably seen him around. He does some like really amazing like rap music on YouTube. He took out a $5,000 loan when he first started his YouTube channel, and I would never suggest anybody does that. Mostly because it took him like 3 years to pay it all back before he started really kind of seeing like profits coming from his channel. That's not something I would do, but in this particular case, like putting out a couple of small amounts to be able to kind of start up in your channel, it's not a bad idea. Gives it a more professional look, and it'll definitely start helping to build your subscriber base. So, Killshot paid out like $50. He's got nice looking stuff. He's got a nice banner. He's got a nice icon. He's got good things going for him. Or even like he could be an artist himself. He could draw it up on his own. But now he's got all these videos. Let's say he's recorded like 80 Let's Plays. He's just got 80 of these 10-minute Let's Plays of Call of Duty. He thinks it's hilarious. It's captivating to him. He thinks it's captivating to his audience. He showed it to his mom. She didn't like the language, but she thought it was funny anyway. And now he's got to say, how am I going to upload these to my channel? How am I going to get these videos up there? Well, he goes ahead and uploads each one of them. So he's got 80 that are up there, but they're not public. They're all private. He's made a thumbnail, which I cannot stress enough to you, how people judge books by their covers. Thumbnails are important. Don't just let it show footage. People are far more likely to click if you make a professional thumbnail that just has your name. Like literally, I'm actually going to touch on this before I go on to scheduling. Thumbnails are actually a really big thing. Have you guys ever watched, please, I know you have, PewDiePie, or at least seen PewDiePie videos on your sidebar, or Markiplier videos on your sidebar and stuff? The thumbnails for those are actually very brilliantly put together because they do usually two things. Let you know an idea about what you're going to see, which is what you generally think a thumbnail is going to do. Like, so let's say it's Dark Souls Let's Play, or whatever. So he has like a picture of one of the screens from Dark Souls, or one of the box arts from Dark Souls. And then usually Mark will have a picture of him like making a silly face or screaming into it. I know PewDiePie, every time he plays like a horror game, he always has a picture of himself screaming on it, and then it'll say something across the top, just like, oh, super hard, or something like that. The super hard in the picture of Dark Souls gives you an idea that says, you know, this is what you're going to see. This is an idea of what's actually in the video. But another thing that adds in that branding that lets you know that this is a PewDiePie video, this is a Markiplier video, you're not going to get it confused with another brand or another channel, is the fact that it has a picture of that person on there. The fact that they are also gorgeous human beings is completely separate. But that's the idea of how you want to make your thumbnail. Killshot could have done the same thing. He might have been like me, kept his face hidden for the first couple of years. He doesn't want to have a picture of himself, that's fine. He has his little icon he paid money for. Put that into one of the corners. The Game Grumps do the same thing. We know what the Game Grumps look like, Aaron and Danny or John. We know what they look like, but their brand is those little heads. One's Grump, one's not so Grump. And those always go into the bottom corners of their videos. So we know it's Game Grumps video. We know what we're going to expect, we know what we're going to see when we click on that video. That's kind of nice. But let's say Killshot's made his thumbnail. It's wonderful. He's got his little icon in the bottom corner. He's got a picture of Call of Duty. Each one of these has different guns. He spent no more than 5 minutes making them. They all look wonderful. And he says, like, they're all uploaded. Okay, what do? Do I release them all at the same time? That way I have a whole library immediately. As soon as my channel goes live, I start sharing it around, I'll have like 80 videos already up. Is that the best way to do it? It's not. So that was a false scenario. I gotcha. What he wants to do is he wants to find a nice schedule and frequency to be able to upload. Now, it's really hard for me to kind of describe to you what the best schedule is for anyone. It's always going to be the best way that you are able to produce your videos, the best way that you're going to be able to upload. In Killshot's case, he's able to make these Let's Plays pretty quick. He's already got 80 of them done, so he could go ahead and schedule them to be one every day. If he has one every day, he's almost got 3 months finished already. And then over that 3 months, he can start making more, and then start putting them out after those 80 you're finished. For other people, maybe that's not the case. There's a horror channel called Fudio Horror, and Fudio Horror does horror shorts. They don't have a frequency that's all that frequent. It's literally every 3 or 6 months they upload a full set the next season. And it works well for them because the idea behind a schedule is that it's just so that your audience knows when to come back. You want to have a schedule that lets them say, like, yeah, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, my audience is coming back and looking for a new video. Game Grumps upload every 3 times a day. 3 times a day. So anytime I'm off work, I want to come home and watch a Game Grump video. So I can go ahead and sit down. As long as I'm coming back at this time, I know all 3 of their videos will be up and go watch them. Mark uploads 2 times a day. MRCREEPYPASTA uploads like once every day. So you always know what time it's going to be there. If I come back after that time, I can watch one of his new videos. Whatever works best for you, whether it be once a week, once a day, once a month, that's the best time as long as you stick to that schedule. Especially if you want to make this into like a business. You want to make this into a job for yourself, treat it like a job. You're not going to show up to work one day just 3 hours late and then go like, it's fine, the boss won't care. The boss does care. Every time that you do that, if you start showing up to work 3 or 4 times, 3 or 4 hours late every time, you're not going to be working there anymore. And it's the same case with your YouTube channel. Just keep in mind your audience is your boss. And also, I mean, think about it like a television channel. If there was a show that came on just whenever, it would get canceled pretty fast because nobody would know when to watch it. Even if it was a good show, nobody knows when to watch the show, so eventually it gets canceled. But let's go ahead and say Killshot's going to upload this every day at noon. That's something nice to go ahead and advertise as well. Every day at noon, there's a new Killshot video. But to help people be able to go through these videos, what he's going to be using are playlists. Playlists are very simple. I'm sure all you guys use playlists already. But you might not, because YouTube invented this wonderful thing that's called the autoplay button. And I'm pretty sure all of you guys use it, even though you don't know that you use it sometimes. And that goes towards one specific thing. And I'm going to be talking about this a lot from this point on. And that deals with the fact that this and this are the ways that people watch YouTube now. And that didn't used to be the case. When I started, friggin' 5 years ago, nobody used these. Like, 5 years ago, nobody watched YouTube on your phone. I think it was 20% of the people who watched YouTube watched it on their phone. Even like, God, I think it was like less than 5. We're doing something like on tablets or other devices. Like, I think you could watch it on a PSP back then, which is like nobody does that anymore now. Like, I had 9%. I had 9% back 5 years ago that actually used PSPs to be able to watch my videos. And that's nuts that like any of that kind of stuff has shifted because now we're at 60%. 60% are other devices. Everything else used to be just on computers. Now people don't use computers as much as they use these. And the real thing that kind of adds to these and adds to the big change is binge watching. And binge watching is the greatest thing to ever happen to like internet media because it means that somebody at home is just sitting down with like a tablet or on their television or streaming to something, and they're just watching video after video after video after video. And like, I know everybody in here is guilty of doing it. Netflix came out, new season of Daredevil. I know, it totally happened. But in this particular case, as the content creator, you want to get as many people binge watching as possible. In Killshot's case, he wants to get somebody watching his first Call of Duty video, and he wants them to stick through all the way to the 80th, because that's 80 views from one person. He's able to get 100 people to do that. That's a lot bigger of a number. And that's what everybody wants is going to be those kind of binge watching crowds. And what helps you with that is going to be the autoplay button and your playlists. The autoplay button is wonderful because that means that people don't have to know you. As long as they found one of your videos, it'll help them find the next one, and then help them find the next one. But the problem with it is that YouTube uses an algorithm that determines what people want to watch. So the autoplay button doesn't always necessarily find your videos. It'll find other videos that are also popular. that they might want to watch. So, God, who else plays freaking Call of Duty? I don't watch Call of Duty Let's Players. New series that Killshot started working on. It's, he started playing Stardew Valley for some reason. And he's got a Stardew Valley series going on. He's got like 10 parts of that. So somebody starts binge watching it. And they start on part 1, and they like it. Stardew Valley's nice. You start watching Killshot play Stardew Valley, it's part 2, part 3. At that point it says, okay, you've watched some of these, and you've liked them. So let's find someone else. Look, Game Grumps played Stardew Valley. So it's going to start playing Game Grumps videos in Stardew Valley. That's nice. And for the viewer, I'm sure that's nice also. Like, hey, I get somebody else, I get variety. But for Killshot, that's not nice. Because they just watched 3 of his videos. He had 7 more. So what he uses in that case is going to be the playlist. And the playlist helps YouTube's algorithm determine that these are the orders that these videos need to go in before it ends. At that point, the autoplay also will pick up that now that we've gone through 3 episodes of this, there are still 7 more, so I need to show the 4th, and then the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. It seems very simple. That seems like the thing that everybody should just immediately go into your head. It just doesn't. I can tell you right now, the majority of small channels that start off don't want to use playlists. They don't want to use, they don't want to use thumbnails because it just takes up extra time. These are all very simple things. They take you just like 2 minutes, they're done, and you'll be able to upload them. And I can tell you right now, it's going to help out your channel. It makes the difference between starting off with like 10 subscribers and starting off with 100. That's all that is. I think I got like one more thing I'm going to talk about dealing with this before I move into actual fun shit and stuff. And that one's going to be the cards and annotations. Those are the last 2 things we're going to talk about in this case before I move into actual like outside of that. So the cards and the annotations are a really big thing. Annotations deal with whatever you see on a video, whenever you see those annoying little pop-ups that say something like click here to get the rest of the video, click here to subscribe to the channel. It's still the same things like your call to action. They're annoying, but they work. You're putting it out in front of somebody's face, and if you spoon-feed your audience, they're likely to do it. That's a simple thing. Cards deal with the big change between computers to mobile devices or computers to streaming devices. And that's to say that annotations don't work on phones. So like where it used to be like, yeah, I put annotations down, hide little annotations in the video, and that kind of adds to the subscriber count. You can't do that anymore. So they made these things called cards. It just adds a link. It's the exact same thing as annotation. It helps. That's boring stuff, and I don't really care. So, so we deal with this kind of thing. It's called okay. I'm going to go ahead and talk about one more boring thing before this goes with this. YouTube Live is something else that's also come out. You guys have noticed a big change in YouTube recently, right? There's been a lot of changes YouTube's been going through, trying to be able to be, I guess, keep themselves relevant in the eye of the media. One of them was YouTube Live. There's also YouTube Gaming. Now there's YouTube Red. And these are all just different kinds of changes when it comes down to the way that YouTube is run. YouTube Live was one of the first things they did because they noticed a big influx in streaming. They kind of associated YouTube Live with YouTube Gaming now, where there was a lot of really big streamers that kind of came onto YouTube, a lot of big gaming channels that came onto YouTube, and they wanted to kind of take over the crowd from Twitch. I would never suggest that anybody uses YouTube Live, and that's just a personal thing. But I would never suggest it because it's unfinished, and it's been unfinished for over 2 years. Say what? That's the live streaming one, right? It's very, like, as opposed to like Twitch. Twitch allows you to do certain things and allows certain programs. YouTube Live is very versatile. Lets you use a lot of different ways to get your content live to your fans, as well as the regulation on it isn't as great as, say, like Twitch or Picaria or something like that. That has very strict regulations on what you can show, what you can do. YouTube Live doesn't have that. However, the tools for moderation, the tools for running your actual chat, for scheduling, for sharing, they're just not there. It's nice to be able to connect to your fans in a way that's live. I'm going to be talking about community building in just a second, because that's really the biggest thing when it comes down to your channel, is building your community. But when it comes down to doing like live stuff with YouTube, I would never suggest doing it. It's something that they talk about here in the playbook. Like, yeah, it's a tool for you to use, and it is a tool. Live programming is a tool for you to use, and it's something you should definitely utilize if you're making your channel, you want to make a professional channel, but YouTube Live is not the way I would ever suggest to do it. Same thing it talks about on here is Google+. Google Plus is going wayside. I know they're getting rid of it, I think. Especially when it requires you to make a Google Plus account to make a YouTube channel now. They're getting rid of that. And they suggest on here also that Google Plus is a wonderful way to connect to your fans. It's really not. Nobody uses it. It's like Google Hangouts are great, but that's about it. Google Plus has not really been the best social media site. There's so many more that are available to you right now. This day and age, social media is everything. And Google Plus is just not the best way to do it. So I'm going to talk to you about reaching your audience and specifically building a community. So when I first got started doing this, a couple of years ago, there was a storytelling community on YouTube. I didn't know that. I was incredibly ignorant, and I just actually started watching YouTube videos and watching the channel just a few years ago. I never used YouTube like as an entertainment medium back in the day. You know, 5 years ago, like these really big channels were around, but they were all much smaller. YouTube was a lot less professional looking. There was mostly just cat videos, prank videos, and stuff like that. They didn't really have a whole much that really entertained me. So I didn't know about these other community channels that were there. If you guys have been around, you've seen my channel, or been like on the horror scene YouTube, you'll probably notice like Vicious 516 and the Little Fears. And they were some storytellers that were back in the day. And since then, I think they've actually kind of fizzled out. And back in the day, they were the only ones who did like storytelling. And I ended up meeting them after the fact. Now, those guys, after the fact, when I actually got a chance to talk to them and meet them, I was telling them like, hey, we all do the same thing. We should kind of make videos together. Let's do one together. We can all do different voices and things like that. And they were really on board with it. So I think we managed to do. I managed to do one video with Vicious. The Little Fears, she has her own life and everything. By the time I got a chance to contact her, we didn't get to work together. But that was the beginning of like video. What's recommended? Who are the other people playing that are recommended based off of his audience? He finds them, sends them a quick little email. Hey, I saw you. Or finds them on Twitter. Hey, he's made his kill shot at Twitter. And then he'll find other people tweeting at him like, I watched your latest video, that was awesome. You know, just something like that, making friends. And in YouTube, like talking to people, making friends, outside of just your audience, outside of just your viewers, is kind of one of the most important things. One of the most important things about keeping your channel afloat is to be able to make friends and build that community. Now, I mentioned before, like live streaming. Live streaming deals a lot with not so much like their community of people that you were like talking with, you know, like the people that you're trying to work with, the other content creators. It deals with your viewers. Because the big thing right now with the gaming community or the really big YouTubers that are out there is that they want you to know them as people and not just know them as actors and not just know them as their channel or content. So here's the really interesting thing about that. When I talk about like Aaron Hansen or Danny or Markiplier or any of the other guys, I don't know them. Like, I don't know them that well. Like send them messages like every once in a while, but like it's because they let you feel like you know them. So you guys ever like watch these videos where they're really just kind of podcasting about their life? This is what I did this last weekend. This is what's going on with my career. Or they're thanking you for watching the videos. People that sound really sincere. People that make it less like you're watching them and more like you're watching like a friend play a video game, or you're hanging out with friends and you're just not really involved with the conversation, but you're just kind of listening in and you know, hearing two friends hang out. It feels very personal. It feels less like you're watching, and it feels more like you're there. That's the really big thing with YouTube gaming. That's what makes YouTube gaming channels very successful, actually, is the fact that they feel like there's a personal connection between you and the actual person. If I was watching, and I usually use like Tumblr, if I was watching a movie with Chris Evans, I don't feel like I'm a friend of Chris Evans in this film. I feel like I'm watching him in a movie. He's a wonderful actor. He's able to play a character that I'm invested in seeing, and I care about his character. But this character isn't a part of me. This is just a character that I like. So if he dies, I feel bad. But I don't care. by the end of the movie, oh, I died. But when I'm watching other YouTubers, there's a personal connection because he speaks directly to you. And it feels like, you know, he cares about you. He's appreciative of you being there. I'm sure Chris Evans is also appreciative of you watching the movie. But he doesn't have a way of expressing that directly to your face. You don't feel that personal connection that's there. Now, the thing that really kind of builds that personal connection on a YouTuber scale, or for anybody who does content creation on the internet, is live streaming. And live streaming lets you talk face-to-face with other people. Well, maybe not face-to-face, but directly. Because it feels good at that point. When you have a personal connection with somebody, and then like when Senpai finally notices you, when he finally like sees your username there and goes, oh, hey, thanks, you know, hey, thanks, Killshot, you know, I appreciate that. Thanks for watching the videos. When he speaks directly to you, bam, that connection is so strong at that point. Because it feels so good to know that like they recognize you, and they're not just talking to a mass group that they can't see. They're talking specifically to you. The major reason why I like doing conventions is because I like meeting people. Meeting people that are on the channel, viewers that are like actually watching the content. That's the major reason why I like doing this, is I can be able to see you guys, I can thank you guys in person, individually, face to face, for watching my stuff and everything. And that's like a wonderful thing, because after a while of making content, you start kind of counting the number, but you kind of don't realize that number is also people. I mean, it's wonderful, like you're very thankful that everybody's there that makes the number big, but you don't really kind of viably imagine that number. Like, you're thinking about like, there's 1,000 people that subscribe to my channel. When you get 1,000 people, it's nice to see the 1,000, but like in your mind, right now, as a person, imagine what 1,000 people looks like. It's really hard to do that. You can't really think about 1,000 people. Like, how does that fill up this room? Is that only 100 people in this room? Would that be, is it 2,000 people in this room? It's really hard to kind of fit that into your mind. Especially once you start getting into larger numbers, it's nice to see the number, but it's kind of hard to actually put that into actual thought. It
was like, I recently watched a video for observing those. There was a study where people only consciously have like an active 100 active relationships, and the more you have that, that's
well, that does make sense. That makes perfect sense, actually. Now, there was a thing where one of my professors in college had actually brought up before, like where I said like to imagine this. Like they said, try to imagine 3 tennis balls. You can imagine like that. That's what 3 tennis balls, what do they look like? How would they fit together in a room? Are they on the floor? That kind of thing. And then they said, okay, take those 3 tennis balls and now try to imagine them as 1 million tennis balls. And you kind of can't. You couldn't even imagine how they would like pile onto each other. So that was the same kind of thing. Like having a personal relationship, trying to keep that kind of consciousness of like that number of people beyond 200 is just, it's really difficult to be able to do so. But I mean, being able to reach out to people and like kind of keeping yourself grounded, especially when it comes down to doing live stuff, it's a really wonderful thing, not just as a content creator, but also for the audience, to be able to have that personal relationship. I'm gonna totally lose track of myself. Metadata is an important thing. So, Killshot's videos. And this is kind of a sidetracked thought. Metadata is cool. Like, it's a cool thing I'm going to talk about, but and it's very helpful for you guys, but I don't really have much to say about it, besides just, especially they don't have anything to say about it because they won't tell you this. This is one of the tips and tricks. I'm working at it. YouTube only takes into account 3 things when it comes down to your videos. In Killshot's case, he plays Call of Duty videos. It's very funny. He curses a whole lot. Let's go with it. That's the funny bit, right? So, Killshot's videos, he wants to go ahead and do, whenever he's making his, he has to think about his description, his title, and his tags. Those are the only 3 things that YouTube uses to search. It doesn't use your thumbnail, it doesn't use anything beyond the first 3 lines of your description, and of course, tags. So Killshot's case, he's playing Call of Duty, he's Killshot, and he's cursing. So he wants to make sure that he's doing this like he's doing his Let's Play Call of Duty 3, Black Ops 3. It's effing awesome. That's gonna be his title, because that puts these things into perspective. Like Call of Duty 3, he's cursing about it, and then in his description he's gonna be like, yeah, it's Killshot's back again. He's playing Call of Duty 3, and it's effing awesome. I don't really don't actually just copy paste that. But for the sake of me making this, I'm not going to put too much thought in Killshot's description. So that's basically what he's doing, because again, it puts in the curse words, it puts his name into it, and it puts the game into the description. And that fits in the first 3 lines. Once you hit the 4th line, YouTube does not care. It's just completely throws that information out, doesn't go into the search engine. The tags, of course, same thing. Epic, awesome, Killshot, Call of Duty, Black Ops 3. Those are obvious things. Same thing like if you're going to tag a tweet. That's the same idea. That's the way that it always has to work. That's the metadata. It deals with how searchable your videos are, and you want people to be able to find you. So that's the way that people find you. It's the metadata on the tags. It's important stuff. Really not much I can say about it. Cross promoting. Okay. So there's one more thing I want to talk about. Actually, 2 more things I want to talk about. 3 more. There's there's one more thing called YouTube Analytics. And I want to tell you about YouTube Analytics first off, because it allows you to view how people are subscribing to you, how views are going up, your retention rates and everything like that. I'm telling you that mainly because you're aware of it. You need to be aware. I would never say look at it, except for one thing. The main reason I tell you not to really look at it is because that's like the best way to give yourself anxiety. Like, you start looking at your YouTube analytics, as soon as that number starts dipping, you start freaking out. And it's because you just start getting that thing about, oh, I did something wrong. Oh no, people aren't watching me like they used to. Oh no, I need to do something. I need to do more. I need to, that's a terrible sinkhole to get yourself into. Start spiraling out of control. It's terrible. I never tell you to do that one. There's one thing in there that I would never suggest you take a look at and watch, and that's going to be your retention rate. Now, when you want to start making YouTube your job, you want to make that your career, then you're looking for a partnership company. A partnership company is like basically a company that comes to you. They contract you to make your content on your channel. They don't want to take control of it. They say, you sign this contract, you keep doing what you're doing, and we find advertisers. Those advertisers put the ad on your videos. And we will pay you for those ads. Now, your retention rate deals with how much those advertisers want to pay you to put ads on your videos. Generally, what you want to see on your retention rate is going to be a little graph, and there's a red line. And that red line is always going to start at the very 0.100%, and it's going to drop to about 70, 80%. And that's fine. It's fine if it drops, because usually that means somebody has clicked it, they're either going to go back, or they clicked on the wrong video, or they're going to go over to another one, they saw something else in the recommendations they want to click on again. It's fine if it drops 70, 80%, that's fine. It drops down to 70, 80%, you want to see it go consistently all the way through until about the last 2-3 seconds, it's going to drop off to nil. And the main reason why is because that's where you're going like, okay guys, thanks for watching, don't forget to like, fave, and subscribe. And they're gone. They don't care. Like you're looking at you want to get that small 8% that stay, because they're the ones you want to care about and like snagging them in for the subscriber count, because 8% is good, you know, when you're looking at a mass. But they're gonna leave once you get to your call to action, because to be honest, everybody does that. You want to skip out on the credits when you're watching a show on Netflix. It's generally what happens. But the main thing you don't want to see it do is go in, 70-80% drops off, and then slowly start building off of the video, and like halfway through they're done. That means that there's people are leaving. They're either not interested, you're not really captivating your audience to something that you want to do. Now, mind you, if this is something you want to do personally for you, if you're making these videos for you, that's fine. You don't care about analytics whatsoever. This is your video, you're doing what makes you happy, you want to do what makes you happy. But if you're doing this one because you want to make this into your career, you want to make this into your job, you want to make that consistent throughout. You don't want it to suddenly like drop off towards the middle. That's going to be a time where you want to try to reevaluate your content and say, okay, well, they started leaving at this point. What started happening at that point? Was it I started not really talking as much? Were my jokes do I need to redo my jokes at this point? Was I cursing too much in this one? Was I not cursing enough in this one? What's my selling point as my channel? And you know, try to reevaluate that and try to figure it out. What you don't want to see happen also is it drop off, and then somewhere in the middle it starts coming back up. Because that means people are sharing your video, which is nice, but they're sharing it at a specific time and saying, go here, that's the good part. And you don't want to have a good part in your videos. You want the whole thing to be good. Because if you have a good part, that means that like, well, let's take a look at, was this point between where they were dropping off and the good part, really necessary to be in there. Did you guys ever watch? God, never mind. I can't talk about it. The movie just came out. I'm gonna have another good movie here in a second, and I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna spoil it, and then everybody's gonna be mad at me. I was about to talk about Batman vs Superman, and I'm sure everybody in here hasn't seen it. You've seen it? They do what?
Making builds, like character builds, for Palmore. So it started like a big story of like this whole idea of what their idea was behind the character, and then they go into like the build, like at this level get this. You were just
Skipping past it to the
build.
build.
Just going right past the initial part of it, going right to what do we use for this part of the build? And all that.
Well, there's a reason why when you watch how it's made, they never really kind of give you like, yeah, let me show you about the pencil. We're gonna show you how you make the pencil. Here's like the 20-minute history of why we started using pencils as like a species. It doesn't really fit. You came to how it's made to see how it's made. So yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. Like that's the good part. You start skipping over to get to the good part, and you never really want to have the good part. That's going to create like major problem with your videos, and especially whenever you're looking for partnership, you're looking to get paid. They're not going to want to pay you as much. Generally, you get paid about $2.50 per 1,000 views, and that's when you're going to start seeing like, here's 40 cents per 1,000. And like, especially when you want to try to look at this as a career, it's not too wonderful. The one other thing I'm going to talk about, there's two more things before I move into copyright, because I know copyright's a really big thing for YouTube right now. But I want to talk about this one. It's going to be called Tough Skin. So, Tough Skin was something that they actually brought up in every playbook I've ever read. They talk about tough skin. And I like to talk about tough skin because it's a really big thing, especially on YouTube. YouTube is aware of the fact that there are like jackasses on YouTube. Like, they are very much aware of that. There are people who will comment just for the sake of tearing you down. And they talk about this, and it's called tough skin. And that's to say that, like, when I got my very first dislike on a video, I got very lucky. I think I was about 20 videos in before I got my very first dislike. And it was on Dead Bart. And when I first saw Dead Bart, I put like a lot of effort in that one. It was one of the first really long stories I did. And I posted it up one night. The next morning I got up, and there's one dislike on the video. And I was like, I knew it was going to happen at one point. It's inevitable. People are going to dislike it. They're going to, it's fine. Everybody has different opinions. But you know what? I put a whole lot of effort into that video, and that one took me hours to actually be able to do because I did so much new stuff with editing that I hadn't tried doing before. And screw that guy, because I tried really hard, and I got really upset at the fact this guy didn't like the video. And the thing about it is that like there are people who will leave comments to be hurtful. There are people who will just dislike it for the sake of really wanting to be able to make you feel bad about what you did. And by the time that you're done making your videos, by the time Killshot's done, he worked on 80 videos. By the time that he's done with that, those are like his baby. He spent so much time and creativity and thought into making these, he thinks is good, he thinks is perfect. And for somebody to just leave him something hurtful, that really tears into you. Even if you don't think it will, it really does. It really tears into you. So YouTube says that you need to have tough skin. And what I usually try to think of is that every single person, everybody in this room, everybody on Earth, only has a certain amount of time, in life. Only has a certain amount of time to be alive. And whether they're leaving you a hurtful comment, non-constructive criticism, even just clicking dislike on your video just to be a jerk, they're giving you a very small section of something that they can never get back, something that's only theirs to be able to give. They're giving you a very small piece of that life. And whether they're trying to be hurtful, that's always still a very positive thing that they're giving to you. So hopefully that'll be able to help you out on that one, because that's the best way I try to think about it. Yes, my friend?
Even with negative stuff, doesn't it benefit the video itself?
No, with dislikes, unfortunately, the comments, yeah, but the dislikes, unfortunately, YouTube's algorithm weighs the likes versus dislikes. So if it's highly disliked, then it doesn't get around. Like, there's some exceptions to the rule, like Friday, Rebecca Black, when she did Friday, Justin Bieber's music and stuff like that, ended up getting around because it was popular, so it ended up getting shared, even if people thought it was bad. And it had more dislikes than it had likes. But in most cases, that's not it. When people just show up to start disliking videos, they just shoot down because they're less recommended. Yeah, last thing I'm going to talk about, and I've got a very limited amount of time right now, is going to be copyright. Copyright's a very big thing right now on YouTube. A lot of YouTubers are kind of coming out and talking about how they've had really big issues with copyright. And there are laws that protect us, like there's parody laws and things like that that protect us and our content from being able to be taken down. YouTube's system basically says that if somebody is violating your copyright, you can give them a cease order through YouTube. Tell them straight out, stop, don't do that, that's mine. And when they do that, it gives you a strike at your channel, copyright strike. It says, I own this. When that YouTuber sees it, he has two options. He can either accept it, or he can push it back with all of his full legal information, name, address, everything, and say, no, you don't. Come at me with a lawyer. That's a very kind of scary thing to do for anyone. YouTubers have their face out there. YouTubers do this, but anybody can give you a copyright strike. And for you to have to give back your full legal information to that person, here's my name, here's my address, here's my phone number, sue me. Even if they're not going to sue you, that's kind of a terrifying thing to do. It's somewhat of a broken system. Yeah, your content might be, you'll get your content back in 14 days if they don't sue you. That's great. But now you've just given up all of your personal information. There's really not a way around it. What you can do, like I mentioned before, you have partnership companies. Your partnership companies, of course, won't help you break the law. So if you are using copyrighted content, you get caught for it, you get caught for it. But they can help you in some certain situations when it's fraudulent. And talking to partnership companies, getting your channel partnered, especially if you're looking at doing it as a business, is like the only real defense that you have. Because keep in mind that your partnership company is always going to take a portion of your funds. Anything you make, usually they're going to take 20, 30% of that because it's theirs. They partner with so many channels so they can maybe be able to make an income based on that for finding you your advertisers. So if something happens to your channel, then it affects their income as well, and they will do what they can to defend you. But they also cannot help you break the law. If you know that you are using copyrighted content and you get a strike for it, sometimes you can just get a content ID match. That means you can't monetize the video. The funds for that go off to something else. If I use Justin Bieber's music in my video and he gives me a content ID match, or better, the studio gives me a content ID match, then it's fine. The money goes to him because I used his music. Fair enough. Fine. But if he wants to, he can give me a strike, and that says his video comes down. And I am penalized for it as well on my channel. If I do that, my partnership company can't do anything to defend me because I used the music without permission, without license. Can't do that. What you ideally would like to do is make sure that all of your content on your channel is 100% your own. But I know Let's Players and things like that, that's difficult. Obviously you're playing another person's video game and everything like that. What you can always do is you can also send messages over to the game studios. Usually they're very receptive to it. But you always look up license, like letters and things like that they put out saying it. Like Nintendo, they're actually not too keen on Let's Players. They're not. Which was weird because they were like 2 years ago, and then they were like, yeah, you can use any of our content. And then like they came out and just went, nah, never mind. The laws are different in Japan, and I feel like that's a good reason why they kind of they don't understand what YouTube really is, because it's not really a big thing for them, but for us it's a really big thing. But they have just changed their mind, and now they're not really keen on that. So I've got just a couple minutes left. If anybody's got anything that they had questions about on their specific YouTube channel or anything, I'd be happy to answer any kind of questions in the next 4 minutes. But otherwise, that's everything I got for you guys. Thank you for coming to the YouTube channel. Anybody has questions? Though? Raise your hand.
There are penalties associated with that, like they will limit your video content.
Yeah, you lose the ability to post over 15 minutes. You can't link over to any other website besides YouTube. And if you get your second strike, they will suspend you for 2 weeks.
And if you want to see new sweet people right now, I've been noticing a lot of reaction channels.
Oh, yeah.
Getting nailed, especially like Japan, like you're saying Japanese movies. There's one who, even one of the people said they are highly aggressive. They're even more aggressive than Nintendo. They find in like a switch, they will come at you. So you can usually find a lot of them commenting on, oh yeah, we got this, we got it, right?
Yeah.
Let's say it was because of this company nailing everybody. And I could you help out if you're wondering if that company is actually set up back.
Where in America there's a French company that has licenses on music lab.
Yeah.
There's Naruto. I think it's like Naruto. That's how it's Philippine Naruto. If you post that, they come back.
The companies that own music, there are other companies that will own it besides what you generally think. There are like some other licenses as well. There was a website I used to use called freeplaymusic.com, which allowed you to use music. It was all just free licensed music and stuff like that. And then at one point they just made the decision to just, nah. So they just changed all their licensing from Creative Commons to being non-commercial use. So all the videos that I had that use their music, just all of them get content ID matched, which would have been a huge pain for me if I didn't end up meeting, usually he was a pianist in Germany, and I started using his music, because literally my first 20 videos were nothing just but free play music. So if I had just done that for like all of my videos, I would have gotten like 500 of them just gone, and I would have been crying like in a bathtub for 3 days.
Like if at that time that the terms and agreement was there,
I know.
we targeted.
The thing is that you can do that, but at the same time, so here's the thing, with a strike, they have 14 days to come back to you and say like, no, that's mine, and I can sue you. No, this is fine, I can sue you, kind of thing, right? In a content ID match, they have 30 days. And majority of the time, the companies won't respond when you say, yeah, I can use that, it's okay. So that means 30 days you're without a video. And majority of your views for that video will come in within the first 2 days. So you're at like this weird dilemma now that says, do I keep making videos that could potentially get content ID matched and just work essentially a month in the future and go 30 days without pay? Or what's the best way to deal with it? I do not know this. Sorry, it's one of my editors. He's annoying. Yes?
Okay, so you mentioned you get paid a certain dollar amount per subscriber, and then you get paid by ads.
Not for subscribers, only for views on the video. So like, yeah, so it's every 1,000 views. Generally, the average is $2.50 per 1,000 views.
Okay, then so that's one way you make money, and the other way is ads, right?
Yeah,
Click on the ads.
yeah. There's a way to do click-through ads with Google. That's generally what you do if you don't have a partnership company. But you're looking at generally getting paid for 9%. 9% of your views, because your click-through rating is actually at 9%. I am out of time, everybody. Thank you so much. I have a signing later on today. If you guys want to see like more actual creepypasta and creepypasta stuff. If you guys have any more questions, I'll step out there too. Thanks, guys.